Hello everyone, here's Dr. Edward Santiago with another tutorial. System requirements, it's another topic that many people are not familiar with. Every software that we want to install in our computer has minimum system requirements. So practically what you can do to identify your minimum requirements and make sure that your computer meets these minimums is just find out what the software requires. And one way of doing this is going through your web browser. And in this case, we are looking at Windows 10. Minimum requirements is type that in. And it's going to tell you what is the operating system that you need to have. In this case, if you want to run Windows 10, you need Windows 7 or 8 to do the update, and you need a processor running at 1 gigahertz or faster, and 1 gigabyte of memory, hard drive space, and graphics card. I touched on these requirements on the other video, and where I was teaching you how to find out your minimum requirements on your computer. So you need to compare these to that, and if yours are great, equal, or greater than this, then you can run this software. Here's another example for Visual Studio. This is for my programming courses. To run with Visual Studio, again, you type in Visual Studio 2019, and one of the minimum requirements is going to tell you a processor running at 2.6 gigahertz or faster, quad core or better. So this is very important because otherwise you're going to sit there and look at your computer, process something, and it's going to take a while. Also, it tells you the memory space and gigabit hard drive space. These are your three variables that most of your computer or most of your software is going to ask you is CPU, memory, and hard drive space. All right, moving along. Here's another software, AutoCAD. This is for engineering. This one is gonna has a different set of requirements. It's gonna require you a two-core processor running at 3 gigahertz or faster, Windows running at 64-bit. It could be 7 or 8 or even 10, and 16 gigs of memory or greater. Is recommended, but it tells you that the minimum is 8 to run. A minimum of 250 gigabits of space, and the minimum is going to tell you 100. So the difference between the minimum and the recommended is the recommended is the optimal way of running. So, but you could get away with running at 100 gigabits. But all right, it tells you the different types of processors and amount of memory, so on. Now here's a video game. This is one of my favorites. Is Farming Simulator. Do the same thing. Tells you the processor, operating system, video card. In this case, video cards are very important. This is a whole different video. Hard drive space and dedicated RAM. Now, in this case, I searched for a video game on Amazon, but it doesn't tell me the minimum requirements. So what I did is you copy and paste the title of the video game or the software that you want, and then you just go here and type it in and add system requirements to it. So in order to run that video game, requires Windows anywhere from Vista all the way up to Windows 10, a processor running a dual core at 2 gigahertz, 2 gigs of memory, and a video card 9600 GT or better, and 1 gig of hard drive space. Now, one important thing is to know is that remember each of these programs, if you were to install them all in the same computer, you can only run one at a time. So uh, if it's installed in your hard drive, that's no problem. But you can't run two of them at the same time because you could, but unless you have like there's no reason for you to run two video games at the same time or run a video game while you're running AutoCAD. It doesn't make sense, but remember you're going to be running these one at a time. So as long as you comply with the minimum requirements, you'll be good to go. All right, so if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, text, or you know my contact information. Take care.